Not all sports equipment is created equal, and when I look at this goal, this was probably meant for home use, maybe somebody's backyard with a couple of kids who actually listen to their parents. It didn't hold up so well at an elementary school where you got all kinds of kids hanging off it, but they don't want to throw it away. They'd like me to fix it.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of online. No, not online. I'm actually there. Facilities maintenance.
I'm over in the metal shop trying to figure out a way to rebuild this goal net at the elementary school. Over the last few days, different ideas have come to mind. This is the piece out of the goal net, but it's broken here. All right, that corner is broken. And this end is also wrecked, so that has to come off. But I have another connection like that, right there, same as that. And what that means is that I can cut that one off, and essentially this one can become that one. And there's no need for this to be two pieces. So how do I make that not two pieces, but retain the length that I need? Well, let me show you. I have a piece of EMT, which stands for electrical metal tubing, and I can use a small piece of this, cut that off, use a small piece of this, and weld that in, and essentially turn this into one solid piece. And yeah, maybe get another year out of that goal net if we're lucky.
Okay, measuring from the corner, I need my finished piece to be 75 3/4.
So what I will start by doing is cutting that off, cut that off, and then I just weld this end onto there, and now I've essentially restored that piece. And then I'll just take a small chunk of this EMT and put that back together. I could cut it off by hand, but the reason I like using the cutoff wheel is it gives me a nice square cut, which makes for aligning things straight and true afterwards that much easier. Okay, I think you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just using a small magnet to put these two pieces together until I can tack them in place. As far as alignment is concerned, I'm just eyeballing these. They just need to be close because that is a bit of a slot down here. Not a perfectly round hole. I've got a little bit of wiggle room. I've ground the paint off here so my ground on my welder will make good contact. And I'm ready to fire up the welder and start tacking this in place. And like other projects you've perhaps seen me do, I have to spot weld this and then fill in the gaps because it's such a thin-walled metal. And if I try and just sink the heat in and make a continuous bead, I'll blow right through it. And there is my infill piece, about a 4.5 inch long piece, which will turn these two pieces into one. Welding together an exhaust pipe, the process would essentially be the same. You can't just do a continuous bead, you have to tack weld it. And the reason it's not aligning completely on this side is because the diameter of that one is still slightly larger than the diameter of this one. Okay, there's our new top crossbar, or half of the crossbar anyway. Now the easy part is done. The more difficult part, or time-consuming part, if I can find the other piece, there it is to clean this up and clean this up and then weld them back together, because yeah, this was just ripped apart at the seams. Fortunately, enough of this was still together in such a way that I don't have to figure out the orientation. It just fits together. I just have to clean up the edges and then do a whole lot of tack welding. Okay, I've got my pieces cleaned up and I'm noticing a little crack in this one here. So I'm going to tack weld this one from the inside first before I start attaching it to that piece there. So it took a while to admit that I'm ready to start tack welding this bit together because it's not square and my brain wanted it to be. I wanted these pieces to fit together and this to be a perfectly square angle. And I'm thinking to myself, is it bent? Is that why it's not square? So I am going to put it back together like the way it seems to be fitting, with fairly tight seams. And then yeah, let's hope that it fits on the goal. I'm sure you've heard of the torture death by 1,000 cuts. Well, I'm going to be welding with 1,000 tack welds. Okay, I'm almost done. I just have this outside bead left to do here, and this is very difficult. It wants to blow through here really easily because it's very thin here. So I'm going to have to not just weld it, but build it up at the same time. As for the rest of it, I'm happy the way that's come together. That's definitely stronger than it was. And when I say was, I mean originally. It's stronger than it originally was, not stronger than it was after it was broken. I wish I could show you how I build this up and close that in, but without a camera operator, I just can't. I need two hands. I guess if I was wearing like a headlamp GoPro thing, I could probably show you that way, or mount a camera onto the outside of my welding helmet. That would do it. But yeah, you can see I've been able to close that up and I've probably tripled the thickness of it. Okay, I'm done. And while there is a temptation to want to grind that away to make it look nice and smooth and everything, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to grind away the metal that's actually providing the strength to the whole corner joint in the first place. I'll just take the grinder and I'll dress a little bit to hit those little spatter pieces right there, and to take off any of the paint that has been baked, because yeah, I got to repaint these places where I've done the repairs, or else they'll just rust. All right, that's looking good and strong.
Now that I see this sitting here like this, I'm pretty sure that this is actually supposed to be a 90-degree angle, and it bent before it broke. Oh well.
Well, I've now moved it over to the paint booth and hit it with some paint. I think it's a perfect color match. Actually, I just used the color that I needed to get rid of. I don't have any matching gray. I went with this because I bought it for a small project. I'll probably never have to use blue again, and why let it go bad? Perfect, we have a ball to test things. Because the moment of truth approaches. See, I told you it was a perfect color match. I wonder if they know something I don't know. If everything works out well, this here will fit there. Now that I see the orientation of this, over time previously from kids hanging on the bar, it has been bent down before it broke. And so it is no longer 90 degrees, but hey, it's back together. It'll work. And you know what we say about that?